This video will walk you through how to set up an APA formatted paper, which we'll be using this semester in this class, and you'll likely be using in many of your other classes. So the first thing that we're going to want to do, and this is using Word, so you should have your Word open if you use Word. If you use Google Docs, I'll actually have a supplemental video for how to set up an APA formatted paper using that program. So the first thing we want to do is go up to our tool ribbon and click to center our text. And then we're going to hit enter so many times so that we get about in the middle of the paper. And we can usually kind of eyeball this. And we're going to start with the title of our paper, which for this activity will be Super Cool APA Formatting Activity. Notice that I capitalized the first word or the first letter of each word in that title. We'll talk a little more specifically about titles later on in the semester, but your major words, which are generally 4 letters or longer, are going to be capitalized in your title. The next thing that we want to do is skip to the next line, and we actually want to put our name. Now this is your name as the writer, so if I'm writing this paper, I'm going to put my name. And then we want to skip one more line, and we want to put our institution, which in this case is Nevada State College. If you are going to UNLV, you would put University of Nevada, Las Vegas. If you're going to Harvard, you would put Harvard University. So that can shift depending on where you're taking classes. Now we also want to go ahead and double space this. A couple ways I can do that just to teach some of you a shortcut if you don't know it. You can, of course, highlight it, and you can go up to this button in your tool ribbon, and you can go to double spacing, and that looks nice. Another thing you can do, though, is highlight, and you can use the Control A if you're on a PC, or Command A if you're on a Mac. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do Control A. So I did, Command A. You can do Control 2 or Command 2, again, depending if you're PC or Mac, and that's going to automatically double space. Now what that actually did, though, is double space all of this in here too. So I'm just going to delete some of that so that it looks nice and neat. Now I can actually back out of here just a little bit to kind of tell if that's centered. That looks pretty close to being centered. I'm pretty happy with that. Now what we need to set up, now that we've got our title page almost finished, and just to let you know, you may have instructors that actually want more information here, like their course, name and number, or perhaps the assignment that you're writing. It's okay to include that stuff, but I want you to know that for this class, this is all that's required because this is what APA requires per our textbook. So just remember, nothing else should really be here unless your instructor is asking for it. And for my class, I'm not asking for it. Now, what I want to do is I want to skip down to the next page. It might be tempting to try to put your running head up at the top right now or your page numbers. You absolutely cannot start doing that on the first page. We have to get to the second page. I can guarantee that some of you will still turn in this assignment where you have started on the first page, and I'll be able to tell because it absolutely doesn't work. So your cursor is right there. You can click enter until you jump down on that next page. Another thing that we can do, though, that I like to do is I like to go to insert and then a page break, because that makes sure that everything stays nice and neat. So I actually have this, now my cursor is up here on the top. I want to go back to this home tool ribbon, and I want to go back to my align left, because actually, you know what, let's stay in the center, and let's just go ahead and write abstract. So now I have my title page with my paper title, my name, and my institution. And on my second page, I have the word abstract. Now notice that abstract is not bolded, it is not italicized, it is centered, unbolded, unitalicized, and it is also capitalized, but only that first letter. The abstract is something that you'll learn about in a little bit later in more detail in some APA mastery activity. But it's basically a way for you to give your reader a quick overview of your essay so that they can determine if they want to read it or not. Now, this comes in very handy when you're completing large amounts of research, because you may pull 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 articles, but you're probably only going to use about half of the ones that you pulled, maybe a third of them. You don't want to have to read all 10, 20, 30, 40 articles if you're only going to use half or a third of them. So the abstract lets the reader know, hey, here are the nuts and bolts to this essay. This is what it's about. Here's context for the problem, things like that, so that the reader can decide very quickly, should I spend the time reading this or should I skip it? As you start to do research, you will be so thankful that abstracts are included in most documents. So we're not going to go into any more depth really about the abstract here, but like I said, you'll encounter that in a future APA mastery activity. So what I want to do now is I want to start on the second page with my running head and my header. So I'm going to go back to insert, and I'm going to come over here to page number. And I'm going to go to, let's see, I want to do top of page in the header, and I want to do right. And I am going to click OK. So now I have my my header there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the title from my paper and I'm going to put it in all capital letters. It's going to look probably different than you are used to putting information in your header if you've been using MLA in high school. But this is what it should look like in college if you're using APA. So notice I took the exact same title and I just put it in all capital letters. That's exactly what we want it to look like. Now let's say this title was longer, okay? And let's just say, I'm just going to type some letters. Let's just say it's that long and it ends up going on the next line. That's a bad thing. We don't want that to happen. If that's the case, you can shorten your title so that it's nice and pretty and stays on one line. If I had to shorten this title, I would probably do something like remove the super cool and just title it up there APA formatting activity, because that is still going to match up with my title on my title page. It's okay if I lost the super cool up here, because like I said, I'm still going to know this is the same paper. Luckily for us, this title isn't too long, so we don't have to drop any of it. But again, if it was too long, we would only drop part of it in the header, starting on the second page. We would keep the whole title here, so you don't have to shorten that title. We would just shorten this title. But again, not an issue right now. Now what we want to do is we want to go up to this little ribbon and we want to click different first page. And this is where I'm telling you, you cannot start on the first page, because if you start on the first page, when you click different first page, it messes everything up. So we have to start on that second page. But watch when I click this button, we're going to see that that first page disappeared. Okay, so that first header disappeared. This is exactly what we want. Now what we can do is we could just manually make this look the way that we want it to look according to our APA manual. So now I'm going to type running head, and notice that running head is not in all capital letters. This is what we call sentence case or sentence style, and it's where you just capitalize the first letter of the quote sentence, because running head isn't actually a sentence, but of the phrase, so that it looks like a sentence. So we notice that running is capitalized, head is not. And then we're still going to come back and use all capital letters for our title. Should probably spell it correct. Then I'm going to hit tab and I'm just going to type a 1. And that is exactly how you should set up your APA formatted paper for this class. What I would do is I would go ahead and save this as something like APA template. And I'd save it somewhere that I could find it, like my desktop or maybe a flash drive, somewhere that I would know to go to. Because what I can do then is if I'm working on essay 1, and let's say that essay 1 is titled Really Awesome Essay. Oh my goodness. Then all I have to do is come in here to my template, change all my titles, and then file save as something else, really awesome essay. And then I never lose my template. I always have it. One other thing about templates, Microsoft Word includes template software so that you can just click the APA template and start writing it. Google Docs has something similar. Do I personally care if you do that? No, absolutely not. I'm not teaching how to do that in this class, but if you know how to do that, that's absolutely fine. However, this class is about learning how to do some of these technical and practical skills, as well as being a college writing class. So for this exercise, I am requiring that you set this up yourself. If you turn in a template, I will know because I can see it in the information of the document. So like I said, it doesn't matter to me personally if you choose to use the template provided by Word or Google Docs, but for this activity, I want you to do it by hand because I want you to know that you can do it by hand and how to do that. So this concludes the setting up your APA formatted paper using Microsoft Word.